Flash to Campbell. Campbell on the outside and try time through the skipper. Tyler Campbell. Cut pass out to Stoward. Right foot, left foot, try. Reed Stoward in full flight. Inside to Campbell. Tyler Campbell.
Media Vintage Sports Network presents Play-by-Play podcast with Jordan Hughes.
Alrighty, welcome in Play-by-Play podcast with you. Another week of rugby in the books. We're going to break it all down for you. Jordan Hughes with you alongside just Tyler Campbell today. Jordan Lanack couldn't step in this week, so it was back to the old days, the two of us. How are you, brother?
Good, mate. Obviously, a weekend of footy didn't go our way, but yeah, still on school holidays, so you had plenty of time to recover and I guess have some thoughts about that. And yeah, looking forward to getting back into training tonight before getting the long weekend off for Easter.
A bit of a head clash, mate. Got some stitches going on?
Yeah, sort of 50th odd minute, just a bit of head clash and contact. Seems to happen weekly with me, something around my eye or stitches or whatever it is. So
How many you got?
I got 6 in the end.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I had to wait for the women's game to finish to actually get stitched up, and
Oh, yeah?
had a white singlet on, which was stupid, and didn't realise I was leaking blood after the game. So Mum wasn't happy when she saw that and had to put that through the wash.
Footy, mate. Footy's well and truly back. All right, let's get into it. Tipping front last week. Good week for you, mate. 6 from 10. I was 5 from 10. Jordy Lanack was also 6 from 10. So on the comeback trail, but still got a handy lead over you, mate.
Well, mate,
Here we go.
tipping's your best skill. You'd hope so for a guy that sits in front of his computer all day and looks at it all.
I don't know, that's a dig on many levels, but okay. All right, let's get into Super Rugby weekend recap for you. Actually, off the top, mate, what caught your eye this weekend? Plenty of footy going on?
I probably had 2 moments. First one's a bit of a theme, is the Waratahs at home.
Yeah.
Obviously undefeated. They've knocked off the Chiefs there now. They've knocked off the Brumbies at home. And that Brumbies game was after the Brumbies beat the Blues the week before. So there's something going on there. They're brewing a bit of a culture that they're dominant at home. And for them, obviously, the next step is getting some away wins, because I don't think they've won a game away from home yet.
No.
So I can't really put them as a contender because they won't get a home final not winning those games away from home. But it's good to see that they are winning the ones at home and they're bringing the crowd back, and it looks like there's a bit of atmosphere going, and they're really playing, I guess, what do they call it? Tars tough.
Oh, yeah.
I think they call it.
That's
They're really showing that sort of grit and determination at home, because there was some unreal defensive sets there. And then my second key thing was the Brumbies forward pack. I thought they were absolutely dominant in that game against the Reds, and they dominated up front. I think all but one try came through their pack, and they just looked far better of the pack. And I hate to say it, because I'll probably be with a few of those Reds boys this weekend up at Nongsy's birthday celebrations.
Yeah.
So they might critique me on that, but it just looking outside, and it just looked like the Brumbies pack were a way better pack on the weekend.
Yeah. Bobby V was enormous.
Yeah, shout out to Zane. Never try and hit that man again.
Yeah, you see that clearly got squished, poor bloke.
Mate, he's the best player in Australia.
Yeah.
If there's any doubt, go watch that game, and that proves it, because he was so dominant with those carries and just gets them such good gain line.
Yep.
And he does it at test level too, but he probably doesn't get the support, or teams are a bit smarter on it and are able to defend that next phase. But he really put the Brumbies in the right positions to attack, and he just got front football and was just physical and dominant in every collision he was in.
And obviously the big moment that's been going everywhere around socials, that Waratahs almost 110 metre try. Unbelievable. I sort of want you to break it down for me. How good was it, eh?
Oh, look, obviously any try that goes 100 metres. I will say, is it the best try in the last 10 years?
Yeah,
I don't know if that is true.
Yep.
There's been some unreal ones and
Great long range.
things that have probably been a bit more spectacular. But for me, the moment that made that try is Lawson Crichton under pressure. You can call it forward, you can call it not forward. Doesn't matter. It's a try now. And the way he was able to tip that back over his head perfectly back to Callaway, and Callaway creates that whole try.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like from an outside back point of view, Callaway could have overplayed his hand. They could have passed too early, could have ran too far, but he just timed it to perfection.
Yeah, and I think his biggest asset was actually staying alive.
Yeah.
Because he obviously drew in McKenzie and passed that ball, and he managed to stay on his feet, and McKenzie fell over, which I think actually created the extra man, because he ends up being the inside guy and gives the final pass to Teddy Wilson, the halfback. Don't know about the dive, though. Might need to work on that.
He sort of pulled out a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he needs to work on that a little bit.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, he just stays on his feet, creates the extra number, because that could have been shut down at Lawson. But Lawson, his ability to tip that on, obviously awesome, but Callaway's ability to stay in the play and create that extra number to finish that try was spectacular.
Yeah, obviously Sully playing a massive part in that one as well. Yeah, that was unreal to watch. Did you see the commentary cam at all getting floated around inside the booth?
I personally do not
Obviously
engage in that stuff.
You know I love that stuff, but yeah, it was good.
Not a big fan of those commentators.
You know, even Shawnee?
Oh, Shawnee's pretty good,
Shawnee's
actually.
good.
There just seemed like there was a lot of...
They love the Tars, mate.
Yeah.
They love the
There's a
Tars.
lot of bias towards the Tars, and I understand they're ex-Tars players.
Most of them are, yeah.
Yeah, and I understand that loyalty. It's a bit like Justin Marshall's not really liked in New Zealand because of his loyalties to the Crusaders.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes just sitting there and you see a lot of things float around social media and Facebook like, what are these guys talking about?
Yeah, there's a couple of clangers there. All right, let's get into the weekend recap. The Hurricanes and the Crusaders, 31-24. The Satyrs back on top, and they are the real deal.
Yeah, I think that Moana loss now looks like just a hiccup, just a sort of speed bump in their season. And they're just playing like the Crusaders of old.
Yeah.
You watch them, they just build phases. They don't make mistakes like they were last year. And then they show in those sort of championship moments when they need to get the points and when they need to sort of put the foot down, they do it. And Hurricanes are a good side, but the Crusaders at the moment are just looking, to be fair, after the Chiefs' performance of the week, they're probably competition favourites. And I don't think anyone wants to see them win their 8th in 9 years, but they're just clinical. Their forward pack's functioning well. Scott Barrett, for me, was immense, especially with a lot of talk in the media about his performances this year. He just came out and was, for me, man of the match and dominated that sort of game and I guess made it his own and his pack followed him. So Crusaders are looking good.
Up front, they were very impressive. James O'Connor was scored his first try for the Satyrs as well, but good opportunities to have made the most of it. He's looking good as well.
Yeah, great cleanup. People will see that as like a bit of a lucky try, but don't understand the skill it takes at full speed to catch that.
Hit,
spin, and sort of pop out the side. And he finished it too. He could have easily been tackled, but managed to stay on his feet.
And then I'll ask you the question, what's the O'Connor radar in regards to the Wallabies currently? Do you think he's in the conversation?
Look, if he's available for selection, yes. Like I know he's put his hand up, but what I mean by that is...
I think he is available because he's done over 70. Like he's...
I don't know. They didn't really do that last year.
No, but I actually think that rule's scrapped and it's a player-by-player thing. So I reckon technically Schmidt can pick him.
Yeah, but from my understanding, guys like Tom Hooper and Langi Gleeson were sent home after they signed overseas contracts.
But is this different though because he's still in the same comp?
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of... I don't actually... like if he's in the equation because he's playing in another country technically at the moment.
Yeah.
But if he's good to go, I think he needs to be in that group of 10s if they're not going to persist with Noah.
Yeah, he's a handy man to bring off the bench, versatility. He can cover anywhere.
He's also someone who's played a lot of tests. Yes, it's not all been at 10, but someone who's got a bit of experience behind him and can help the young 10s coming through understand the game. And you can see that at the moment with Tahe Kimura. Like, obviously, the young Crusaders 10, he's gotten a lot better this year. And I don't think it's by coincidence that him having an experienced 10 like O'Connor with him at training every day, sort of rubbing off on him, learning all the little things he's learned over his career and how much he's grown as a player this year. I think the same thing can happen, obviously, to your Ben Donaldsons, your Tommy Liners, your Lawson Crydens, who's probably putting his hand up at the moment with Tane Edmed out. So, yeah.
O'Connor's played everywhere from 10 to 15 at test level.
Doesn't surprise me.
That's crazy, yeah.
Has he had a game at 13?
Played
13 would have been the one I wasn't sure
about.
about.
He played 13 a few years ago. Nuts. So good to see them going well. Of the Waratahs, we spoke about 21-14 over your Chiefs. Let's talk about the Chiefs a little bit. What happened there? Just off day or?
Off day. Yeah. I don't think you'll ever see a worse performance from Damien McKenzie.
Yeah.
And he's put his hand up in the media and he's owned that, which I think is a good thing. Like, there's no hiding behind it. And I wouldn't want to be playing the next game he's involved in because I think he's going to bounce back well. But you got to give credit to the Tars. They had every opportunity to fold. Like, they had all momentum, and then they had that try disallowed. I guess there'll be an argument for decades. Why
are you there?
For me, because it was sent up as a try. It
wasn't enough evidence to overturn it.
Yeah, it wasn't enough evidence to overturn it. The whole argument about a round rugby ball and everything else that comes with it, I don't think the way the camera slowed down, it was very... what do you call it? Like, it wasn't like a smooth transition. Right. It was like clip by clip.
Yeah, okay.
So when it shows the one of it on the ground, it is by the looks of it touching the ground.
Was there ruling saying it was
simultaneous, which is out?
Yeah. Okay.
By law. So by law, it's correct. But I don't think that was enough to overturn the try, and it was going to be a great try too, and a great finish from Fakiti.
I think their better argument would have been if he lost it on the corner post, knock on over that, But yeah, I think that's a try every day of the week. But anyway, Yeah.
It's one of those ones that's like, do you reward it, like benefit of the doubt?
Yeah, like
And obviously NRL got rid of it for obvious reasons, but
yeah.
if it goes up as a try, I think it's got to be very conclusive for you to
And there
overturn
wasn't,
it.
not enough evidence.
Yeah, I don't think there was much to make that decision.
Yep. Anyway, let's go on to the next now. The Blues, 36, Moana Pacifica 17. We did sort of pick this. We thought the Blues would show up. It was the Bowden Barrett of old, almost. He really looked sharp. Yeah, thoughts?
For me, the big one was the Blues, and sounds like I'm saying this a lot today, but their forward pack was really good. Tuiupolo Polotu was immense. Hoskins Satutu looks like he's finding his form. He's been a bit quiet this year.
Yep.
And I also thought AJ Lamb was solid in that midfield. So it was good to see the Blues sort of, I guess, get in their rhythm as an All Black fan, because a lot of those players have been out of form this year, and we probably need them in form come our test series against France.
Yeah.
So looking at it, it looks like the Blues are starting to get their momentum back, get a bit of swagger, get a bit of confidence. I think that win against the Canes
2 in a
did
row
a
now.
lot for them.
Yep.
I don't know who the next game's against, but I think
Crusaders this weekend. Yeah.
yeah, I think they'll keep building, and I think they're a team that can sneak into that 6, and a team I wouldn't want to play in the first round of the playoffs.
Nope, not at all. Next up, down at Dunedin, the Highlanders 43, the Drua 20. The Drua lose their 20th away game in a row. It got to 24-20 at one stage, but I always thought that the Landers were safe in this one. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think the Landers were dominant throughout the whole game. They scored some good tries. They looked good. Their attack was cohesive. They really did well around their sort of pick and drives and their maul stuff. And Fiji sort of stayed on the game from little bits of individual brilliance. And it just seems they can't consistently do that away from home.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a mindset thing. I don't know if the travel is taking a bit for them to adapt to or what it is. But, yeah, they came obviously back, made it 24-20. But then the Landers got the ball back and got back into their work and separated that gap again.
Scored 20 straight points. Not good. How do you... It's become a bit of a joke now. Like, what do you do? How do you fix this for the Drua?
Look, it's not something that happens overnight. We got to remember a lot of these guys have never really been in professional environments.
Yeah.
And you're starting a team off fresh. You're starting to get them into that sort of professional era when they've played a lot of park footy and stuff like that, where they haven't had big travel days and they haven't done the flights and they haven't done any of that stuff. So I think they'll get better as the longer they stay in the comp.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's about growing the Pacific Island nations and, giving them that chance at test level to make the, world rugby in general a lot stronger rather than the top 8 teams always dominating. So I think they'll get there, but I think the pressure's on because it hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah. All right, then our final game was the big one, the Brumbies. You picked it 39, the Reds 26. Big night, Tat McDermott 100 games, Andy Muirhead 100 games as well. Obviously, Zane Nongor 50 and Matt Fessler 50. Great start for the Reds. It was 12-0 earlier from that Paisami and Chip and Chase, but then the Brumbies really taught the Reds a lesson, I thought.
Yeah, as I said, their pack was immense. I thought Tawana was outstanding. Obviously, at 8, going up against the Reds, a team that didn't really want him a couple of years back.
Yep.
I thought he was, obviously, we talked about Valentini, how good he was, but just across the board, their forward pack just won the collisions.
Nick Frost
was unreal. I thought Noah and Ryan Lonergan really sort of managed that game well. Like, their game management was outstanding.
Yep.
And they just sort of kept doing what they needed to do. Like, they didn't do anything spectacular.
Yep.
Didn't do anything outstanding. Like, the Reds scored the better tries, but they got more points because they stuck to what they're good at. They knew where they were winning the game, and they sort of played to their strengths, and the Reds had no answer for it.
I never saw that Bobby V try. Tim Ryan was on the front line. Bobby ran straight at him, and just obviously, we know the result. But do you think, I don't know, I saw the spacing, why didn't have the two forwards there lining him up instead of having Tim Ryan right there as a target? Did you see this?
Yes, I did see it.
Thoughts?
There's a reason your wing is defending there. It's because they've moved their 10 out of the front line.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously the forwards are there too.
Yeah.
And it's a good set piece play. Like, you're always going to have a back there that needs to be brave.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Valentini's one of the best ball runners in world rugby.
To be fair, Tim Ryan was bloody brave.
He was brave. He got in front, but he's probably losing 40-odd kilos there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the change is, because obviously you don't want too many forwards out of your line out waiting in that channel solely because they're a rolling maul threat in that part of the field.
Yeah.
So you need your forwards all on deck to sort of hit that maul and stop that. So you can talk about fixes and that, but it's just a back needs to be there to make that tackle. So whether they move Hunter in, but then they're vulnerable somewhere else. Like
Yeah, it's
this is the hard thing about having a guy like Valentini coming off the back. You need someone there that's going to be able to stop him.
It's tough. So the Brumbies move up to third now. The Reds in fourth. Before we move on this game, I want to give, obviously no Tate McDermott 100 games, but Andy Muirhead, he's someone that, like, he was playing Souths, Magpies back in the day. He didn't really get picked up by the Reds, and then Brumbies gave him a chance, and I reckon he's had a great career.
Yeah, he's had a consistent career. Like, he's never been the most outstanding player. He's never been the best winger in Aussie rugby. But you know what you're getting from him week to week.
Yeah.
He knows his role, he does his job, and when he needs to finish, he can finish. And sometimes you need players like that in your team.
Yeah.
You don't always... I did watch a thing about the NBL's Rajon Rondo on a podcast. And he goes, obviously, like, you have your stars. You know, you have your LeBrons, you have your Kobes, whatever it is. But he goes, some guys, he was talking about his Celtics team, like they had Pierce, Allen, and Garnett. But he said what made them so good is their role players were stars at their roles.
Yeah, okay.
And that sort of reminds me of what Muirhead's like.
Perfect.
So he knows his role and he's the best at what he needs to do in that team. And it's sort of, 100 games, I think it's well deserved.
Yeah, unreal. Great achievement. So we go. That was round 9 in the books. Let's move along now to a bit of news for you. I want to talk about Tane Edmund quickly, how that's sort of playing out. It's a weird one. So the last Wallaby test, he was in the squad, made his debut, and now he played club rugby on the weekend. All the chat is that the Brumbies are circling for that one, obviously replace Noah. What are your thoughts on this?
You know what? Sometimes, like, a new coach comes in like Dan McIlory, and it might not suit the style of rugby that Tane Edmund plays.
Yep.
And we saw how good he was in the NPC last year. And we're probably talking about him falling out of form, but we're probably also not talking about how well Lawson Crichton's playing.
Yeah.
So maybe he just needs some footy at club and he can push himself back into that spot. But I also think maybe a switch of teams, switch of personnel may suit him, and you might suit the Brumbies system a little bit more.
Yep.
Obviously, Dan McIlory had a big foot in how the Brumbies play now and why they are like how they are. But I guess for him, it might just be a change of scenery. Could be something that can help him sort of prolong his career or help him find his form. So I think Brumbies, that'd be a good signing for them because I don't know many other 10s. Obviously, they got Declan Meredith
He
there.
just re-signed, actually, with them. But
Yeah, so it could be a good move for him to sort of rejuvenate his career.
Yeah, and obviously the other big news last week was a new broadcast deal for Rugby Australia at Stan Sport, Channel 9, $215 million for 5 years, keeps the game as it is, I think, and it expands. Obviously, Club Rugby now will feature a game on free-to-air TV every Saturday. Normally, it's just the last end of the regular season, then finals, but now every game, Shoot Shield for Sydney, Hospital Cup in Brisbane. This is cool, I thought. Good addition.
Yeah, great addition. I honestly heard them talking about it and didn't know what was going on.
That's what
That's why you're here. You probably listened. I was a bit tired when I was listening to it, but obviously getting a broadcast deal like this so quickly is great for Australian rugby. I think, 2020, 2021? They couldn't get a broadcast deal. They were really, really struggling. So to be on free-to-air TV with their club rugby helps, obviously, our competitions grow, gets more eyes in, and, biggest part is not necessarily adults and stuff going in and watching. It's kids. Seeing that on TV, it's going to help, I guess, promote the game a bit more, going to show pathways, especially for, for us, like using Bond as an example. You're a Gold Coast local, you're playing down at Crushers or Bulls or Knights, whatever it is. Now you see there's a pathway to play on TV for Bond Uni as a Gold Coast comp. Like I know a Gold Coast team, so I know the Gold Coast comp might not like that because they obviously want to prill on their juniors into their squads. But then it shows that pathway, then shows the pathway of those players then playing in the Reds. Like you look at someone like a Zane might come back and play for Bond, and it shows that, or a Tonga or a Blythe Blythe's been involved with the Wallabies and played a lot of Bond games in the last couple of years. So it shows that sort of pathway and shows kids there is opportunity to stick in union and have a professional career.
Yeah, it's unreal. So obviously all Wallabies games, Wallaroos games will be on Channel 9. There's a bit of chat about whether Super Rugby will still be on free-to-air. It will be. It's just not locked into that Saturday night prime time every week. It'll be a sort of a switching thing, which is good. So
it's understandable.
Yeah, it's nature of the beast. And I think Rugby League they still own that. They still own Channel 9.
And rightfully so.
Yeah,
They're obviously the biggest or second biggest game in Australia at the moment. I think Channel 7 has AFL.
Yeah, and Fox.
And Fox, yeah. So it's understandable, and I guess we've just got to bide our time and slowly close that gap.
Well, I wanted just to sort of paint the picture here, so what the broadcast deals are like and other codes in Australia. So I've got a bit of a comparison here for you. So the NBL, the basketball, $15 million deal. The A-League is $200 million, that's soccer. We're sitting around that $240 on this new one. cricket is 1.5 billion, NRL is 2 billion, and then AFL is 4.5 billion. So we're talking about the sort of money that goes into these deals and the level of it's fucking crazy.
And it kind of does suck that this deal needs to do before the Lions series, because it would have been nice to see what.
If we go well, you watch that.
Yeah,
number
if it
bump
goes
up.
well, if that number went up, but if obviously they went bad,
Yeah.
So I can understand the risk reward that comes with that. But I think, does this go through to the next World Cup?
Yeah, 31. But the World Cup's obviously a slightly different deal, so that'll sort of happen. But
No, and well, what I mean is like after the World Cup, when they need to renegotiate.
it's to 31. Yeah,
You know, you look at someone like the Matildas, how much that did for women's soccer when they had their World Cup here. It could have the same effect for Union, and hopefully get them a bigger broadcast deal, more primetime games, and start bringing that sort of money in that's going to help keep growing the game as a whole.
and I didn't realize how the gap between AFL and NRL. People always argue about which code's bigger. AFL's got double.
I've never thought it was an argument.
You know, you get the leagues go, oh, our code's bigger.
Yeah,
It's definitely not.
Don't get me wrong, I don't watch AFL. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't understand it, I guess, as a Kiwi.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that it is a lot bigger than the NRL.
Yeah. So the annual revenue for AFL is 643 million. Annual revenue for NRL is 400 million. And then put this comparison to something you can relate to. The NFL broadcast deal was 110 billion.
Does not surprise me.
How crazy is that?
Like ESPN knows worldwide compared to Channel 9
Yeah, it's
or Channel 7.
unbelievable. Anyway, so there's that locked away for how to watch rugby over the next 5 years. Other news, mate. Les Kiss is becoming. We're thinking he's gonna be the Wallabies' main man, and I want to get your opinion on this. There's chat about him potentially coaching the Reds again still next year. Because remember Michael Checker did this in 2015. Took the Wallabies to a World Cup final that year. Thoughts on this one?
Nah.
Don't like it.
I don't like it. Checker obviously did it and then he was done with the TARS.
Yeah, it would be a one and done thing. It'd be
Yeah.
at 26.
Okay, if it's the only way they can do it, understandable. But for me, there's always going to be a little bit of bias because he obviously coached the Reds last year.
Yeah.
And I think if you're with guys all year and then you go into a Wallaby setup and you're with them, you're going to be more lenient on the guys you trust.
Yeah.
And your trust is obviously going to be greater in someone who you've been with the whole year. And I just think we want the best players playing for the Wallabies. And if you've got guys that are neck and neck, it should be a competition thing, but a coach is obviously going to trust someone more rather than seeing them compete. And he might not be that type of coach because obviously he wants winning first, but it's always going to be in the back of your mind. I guess that you go, I've seen this guy do this before.
Yeah.
You know, if that guy has a bad game, I've coached him and watched him bounce back 10 times this year, but I haven't seen that from a TARS player because I haven't been in that setup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I know if he does get the job, he's obviously going in to win. But I think it can create a little bit of bias and could create a little bit of rivalry between New South Wales or other franchise fans and Queensland fans, and especially if the Reds team runs out. And it's arguable that they are probably the best team at the moment, and the Brumbies might have just taken that extra step to be the best Aussie team. But you can sort of see
They pick more Reds players.
pick more Reds players.
Yeah.
Pick more, and then it goes the other way. He picks more Brumbies players because he doesn't want to be biased towards the Reds.
You can't win, can you?
You can't win.
If we sort of speculate here, new Reds coach, anyone that comes to mind on the top of your head? Obviously, Liam McDonald's over the Force, fishing around. Obviously, Stu Lancaster won the Wallabies job. He could be a chat at Reds level. Local coaches coming through. Zane Hilton's doing a good job, assistant. Yeah.
I honestly don't know. Obviously, when Les Kiss came in, there was actually a big changeover of coaches.
Yeah.
And he brought a lot of people with him. So how many of those guys that he's got the relationships with, he's going to try and take to the Wallabies with him as well?
Yeah, very true.
So that's a big question. And then, obviously, a club coach. It would be nice to see them develop a club coach.
Coming through, yeah.
Or a guy that's been in their academy system or the women's program.
Yep.
Give Damon Virtue a shot as a backs coach.
Yeah,
Someone like that. There you go.
Love that. We'll watch that space. And finally, on the news and notes, something you brought my attention to, the Indian Premier League in sevens launching. It's huge. We're seeing plenty of stars. Ben Gollings is going to be coaching it. I think it's around a $1 million salary per team for this sevens tournament. It's like IPL of sort of, the cricket rugby sort of situation. This is good.
It's great. Obviously for sevens, because I think they need something to, I guess, get a bit more attention to them and grow it. Obviously India, they're the most populated country on earth. It's them or China. I think it's them.
Yeah, I think it's them too.
So if they can get a bit of growth there, and obviously they're bidding for an appearance at the Olympics with their national team, I think it'd be good to see a bit of growth there, get some more money into the sort of sevens arenas, because sevens probably also has died a bit through lack of money.
Yeah.
They've obviously cut down on the amount of tournaments they're having.
Well, I read some article, they're losing like $24 million a year. Like it's going. Yeah.
I don't see much media on it anymore.
No,
I remember growing up, you'd see a lot of sevens, a lot of the sort of media around it. Could be because I was in New Zealand, but I don't feel like we really get that anymore, and people don't actually know these tournaments are going on.
Yeah. You know what's fun though? It's going to be cool to see these teams where you've got like Henry Hutchinson playing with some New Zealand players and American players, like Perry Baker's going to play with Hutchinson or whatever. Like that's cool.
Yeah, like obviously these guys actually do play a lot together in one-off tournaments. I don't know if you've ever seen them. Like they'll all join and play for Samurai, or they'll go play.
But like not like this.
Yeah,
though.
that's what I mean. It'd be good to see it on a sort of professional level where they're getting paid, they're training together, seeing the contrasting styles of sevens come together. Because like you look at Aussie and New Zealand, they play very different styles of sevens.
Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to see that. You see the Fiji, their style of sevens is very much different to everyone else. The only people in the world that seem to be able to pull off what they pull off.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how that all sort of comes together and the cohesion that comes with that. But also maybe a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of sneaking in, trying to find out what, people's strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that for the circuit.
And good little payday for these boys. Like I'm sure they're going to get a couple of $100,000 to go, maybe more, to go play 3 tournaments, whatever it is. Like,
well, if it's $1 million, what's that? 12 players, or let's say probably 16 players, because we have to have some extras.
Yeah.
And
not bad.
Probably will be that, because a lot of the Indian players probably aren't going to be getting big dollars there.
Marquee players. Anyway, so that's going to be cool to see, something different. Super Rugby Women's Grand Final, mate. Waratahs too good again, 43-21 over the Reds. A few bondies in that side for us. It was 29-21 at one stage, but the Tars, they have always been the
Did I see a stat? They've never lost to an Aussie team.
Correct.
That's outrageous.
They've only lost to the Drua, yeah.
And they've also got the most money in their program too, especially their women's program.
Yep.
So, they're just showing they're the cream of the crop at the moment. And, full credit to the Reds, and I guess the coaching staff will give Fraser and Damo a shout out for how they've sort of
they came last year.
Yeah.
They were dreadful. So
how they sort of turned that team around and sort of had a fresh new outlook on how to approach that team. Because they did pretty well, and obviously to make the final, but obviously just came up against a juggernaut in the Tars. So full credit to both teams, and I think that competition's good. Moving forward to Wallaroos selection to try and be a bit more competitive this year.
And then the Tars play the Blues tomorrow in the championship final, which is pretty cool. Something different, a bit of crossover. I'm a bit worried how the Tars will go here. I think that Blues seems solid now.
I'm heavily reciting with the Blues here. If you've watched a bit of both, it just looks like New Zealand women's rugby.
Faster, a lot faster.
Yeah, is just a level above at the moment. And, it would be great to see the Tars win that, because it would give those Aussie girls a lot of confidence. But just watching both comps, it does seem like New Zealand comp's a lot stronger, and it's because they're not competing with the NRL dub.
Yeah.
They're also had their sort of pathway programs in place for the last 10 years. Like high schools over there have a proper national comp for their female first 15s. Yeah, so I think that's the difference at the moment, but hopefully it's a competitive game at least.
I agree. They had 405,000 people tune in for the Alpiki final last week, Manawatu and Blues. That's unreal numbers.
That's a good crowd.
Yeah.
And it's actually getting quite exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's really good.
So they're playing some good brand footy.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to our round 10 picks and preview. Friday night we spoke about it. It's going to be an absolute bell ringer, Tyler. The Crusaders $1.50, the Blues $2.45, the Lions 4.5. Can the Blues knock off the big dogs here? TC.
I think the Blues are improving, but the Crusaders just look good.
At home, too.
Yeah, at home. I think it's going to be a great game. 4.5's a hard line to pick. I hate when they're under sort of 7 because it's one try.
Yeah.
But I'll go Saders to win and Saders to cover the line.
Yeah, I'll join you. I reckon Saders.
I just think they've got the Blues number at the moment. And the Blues will want to bounce back after that 33-5 loss I think they had to them a few weeks back. But I just think the Saders are good at what they do at the moment, and their pack will be ready to front up against that Blues pack.
Yeah, I'll join you. Yeah, I reckon it's 1-12, probably. But I'll go Crusaders just with that 4.5.
Crusaders by 11 would be my exact number.
There we go. I like it. Put something on that. Now we go over to Fiji. The Fijian Drew are back at home finally. $1.57. The Waratahs $2.30. The Lions 3.5. This is important for the Waratahs here to try and prove that it wasn't a...
This is what makes it hard, because I think Fiji get up here.
Yeah.
And Fiji back at home. The Tars just haven't travelled well all year.
No.
They're obviously coming with a lot of confidence after last week's win.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Fiji, in the same sense, want to bounce back and
They need a win.
they need a win. So,
This is how crazy this comp is, though. You beat the Chiefs one
What's the
week
line?
and then 3.5.
yeah, I'll go Fiji and Fiji to cover.
Yeah, I think I'll join you. Fiji at home. The last Fiji game at home, they were dreadful. They were poor against the Satyrs. So,
And the Tars just have not looked good away from home at all.
No.
They've been thrashed every time they've played away. Against the Reds, against the... Who else do they play away? The Hurricanes, Moana.
yeah.
They just have not looked good away from home.
No, and as we know, Fiji is a tough travel.
And the sad thing for the Tars is most of their back-end games are away.
Yeah.
They've already had 5 or
They've
6
had
home
5
games.
out of 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll join you there. Let's go now. Moana Pacifica at home, $2.45. The Brumbies $1.50. The Lions 5.5. Moana trying to bounce back here. Any chance? At home, this is their best shot at it.
Brumbies, but wanted to cover the line. Close game, but I think the Brumbies are starting to sort of roll, get their rhythm going and be pushing for a home semi-final.
Yeah. The Lions 5.5, so I'll go Brumbies to cover that as well. I reckon they'll do a job. But take the over. Dry track, North Harbour.
Yeah.
Plenty of points. Brumbies, Moana, and I'll go Brumbies. All right. Lovely. Let's go now. The Chiefs and the Highlanders at $1.15. The Chiefs, $5 are the Landers. 14.5 is your number. Chiefs back in Hamilton, as you said, probably fired up to bounce back
Yeah,
here.
Chiefs and Chiefs to cover here.
Reckon big scoreline?
Yeah. I'm thinking like 43-20.
Yeah, okay.
Like just a
Just
random
cool.
number off my head or around there. I just think the Chiefs will be so disappointed, and I would have hated to be at their trainings this week. Clayton McMillan's a very tough guy. John O'Gibbs, I think, is their sort of director of coaching. He's another one that's I've
Tough.
been coached by both of them, and they're very upfront men.
Right. Okay.
So I think they would have been in there and really sort of got into a lot of their players.
Gotcha.
And I think the Chiefs go in full strength this week and get a bit of a 23-point win, 20-odd point win.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chiefs are far too good here. I'll take the minus at 14.5. I'll join you on that one. Chiefs to get it done. And our final match out west, the Force, $2.05 at home against the Hurricanes, $1.70. The Lions, 1.5. Important game for both of these sides, trying to stay within the 6.
Going with the Hurricanes because I think they need the win more.
Yeah.
Like I think they didn't play last week, did they? And they'll be hurting after that loss against the Blues.
Did they not?
Nah, both teams had a bye.
Yeah. No, they played the Crusaders.
Oh, they did too.
Yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah.
I think they'll be hurting
Yeah.
after their back-to-back losses against New Zealand teams, and they know if they want to stay in the fight for the 6, they need to win this game. Both teams in the same scenario. I just think that the Canes have a bit more firepower, and I think they'll get this.
Yeah.
What's the line?
1.5.
Yeah, and they'll cover.
Yeah.
Canes.
Cans. Just to be different, I'll go the Force to win at home. Home side getting points. I'll back the Force to continue the trend because they had a bye last week. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll try and bounce back. There we go. Round 10, picks and preview in the books. I have to get Geordie's tips as well. Time to have a bit of QPR wrap, my friend. Plenty going on around the world of club rugby. UQ bounced back, 18-17 over West. Norths again looking solid, 34-31. Brothers over Jeeps, I called that one 33-8. They were dominant. And then you guys just falling short against East, 22-20. I'll start with Bond. Obviously tough one. Wet conditions, but what do you make of it?
Yeah, obviously woke up thinking it was going to be a nice sort of dry game, and then around lunchtime, it would have been actually around 1 o'clock, just started bucketing down and sort of, I guess, changed preparation and, I guess, game plan going into that game a bit. But, no, you got to give credit to East. People can sit there and, talk about the style of footy they play, but they're just good at what they do.
Yeah.
They're good at maul time, they're good at their line-outs, they're good at their scrums, and they've got a good kicking game, and they stick to it, and our ill-discipline at times, giving away penalties let us down, but also, I guess, just our ability to sort of execute individual skills. We made a lot of unforced errors, and that sort of played into East's hand, and they capitalised on points when they had the chance. I got to give credit to us. We did DR line a lot in the first half, and managed to only hold them to 2, but they did the same in the second half, and, it sucks to lose like that.
Yeah.
And, we've had now probably 2, I guess we're calling them honourable losses. But we've got to sort of, I guess, go back to the drawing board and make sure we start winning some of these close games, because otherwise the comp gets too far ahead and you spend the whole time chasing.
Exactly right. It's sort of a weird one for us. Or you guys have had like play, stop, like the bye and then Easter this weekend.
Yeah, it's obviously had a bit of effect on the continuity. We obviously went in with 2 preseason games because we lost one with the Cyclone.
Yep.
And, I don't think we sort of had what was our genuine first sort of 15 all squad we were going to go in with until round 1 was the first time we played together.
True.
And that was pouring with rain.
Yeah.
So everything you sort of practiced all through preseason goes out the door.
Yeah.
So it's it's obviously a tough start, but the mindset we need to have is no excuses, and I don't think we've had that yet. And I guess going into UQ after the break, a team that obviously had a big loss and bounced back, like it's going to be a tough challenge up there, and we've just got to make sure that our prep the next 2 weeks is spot on, and make sure that we sort of go into that game and we're ready to sort of, I guess, go to war, uni versus uni, make sure we're executing and hopefully come away with 5 points.
Yeah, that'd be huge. You love that too. I'm calling that one for you. You'd be fighter for that.
Is anyone I can ask to
Step
make a
in?
trade?
Yeah. Obviously, just a quick shout out to the Norths Eagles Rugby Club. Plenty of support from them on the potty last week. They quite enjoyed our clip, and I got plenty of.
We'd like to apologise for Geordie's comments. He's new to the podcast.
I think he was
thing.
misinterpreted a little bit, but
Yeah, he's just got to be a bit smarter.
true, he is. Yeah, he is new to this media stuff, eh? But they are flying again, 34-31 over the Magpies. When's the last time they beat them? Crazy.
Yeah, we said it last week. I think they've built something up there that's very good, and it's good to see them get sort of back-to-back wins.
Yeah.
And obviously went down to Eastern round 1, but they've knocked off 2 sides that were in the finals last year.
Yeah.
UQ and Souths were both playing finals footy, so it's good for them. And I think they're second on the table now.
Wow, how good.
So you've got to give them credit where credit's due, and I guess we play them in a few weeks. So just got to make sure that we're ready for when that sort of time comes.
And then final one, obviously Brothers. They're 2 from 2. They're looking pretty sharp. It was 11-8 at half time against Chiefs, and then they just play the conditions so well. And just rolling maul, bashed their way up the field and got it done.
Again, another team that's won back-to-back premierships off doing what they're good at.
Yep.
They play to their strengths, and they're a bit like the Crusaders of our comp at the moment. We've talked about the Crusaders know what they're good at, and that's what Brothers do, and they're good on the counter. They've got a good kicking game, and they're probably still sitting there looking like competition favourites at the moment, especially with the personnel they've sort of got in and around the Reds. So they're going to be tough.
Jude Gibbs and Ryan Smith both got pulled out later that match too, so had guys step in and do the job. So,
and that's the thing, they got that next man up mindset, and they're well coached. So they're going to be tough this season. I don't think anyone was expecting anything less.
There we go. But at Major League Rugby, our man, was sort of check in with him, Reen Stowers. He looked bloody cold playing in New England. It was 4 degrees. I was told windy, raining, tough.
If you're ready to quit, mate, we'll take you back at Bond.
Yeah, tough afternoon for him, eh?
Oh, and it's always tough, those games in the back three. I remember when I used to go down to Wellies and play, like the wind in the tunnel, the wind that would sort of tunnel around the stadium always made it a tough day for the back three, and it looked like it was similar for him. He looked
what
like
did he say?
freezing.
He couldn't close his hands.
Close his hands. Like, it's something obviously. If you haven't done it before, you probably.
Has he played anything like that before?
He grew up in Oz. He's played all his footy here.
Say,
when would he have ever played in the cold?
Playing Gold Coast.
I think he did a Canada trip one year.
Yeah, right. When he was at school.
But
yeah, got to
he's
adapt.
probably had his first game. He's going, what the heck's going on? And, it probably took him a while to adapt by the sounds of it, and he's pretty hard on himself, Ryan.
He is, yeah.
So I'm interested to see how he bounces back and sort of balances, I guess, his play style, learning how to play in those colder games where things don't normally stick, and sometimes you might not touch the ball on the wing for 20 minutes, but you got to make sure when you get your moment that you take your moment and sort of make every moment an opportunity.
Well, of course, that comp's so national. Like, literally going to go from obviously in San Diego where it's fucking hot, and next week you're in New England where it's freezing. Like, it's a bit of a challenge.
I feel like poor Ian didn't have the kit for it either.
No, you didn't have the no skins.
I would have loved to have seen him, in the arm skins and the gloves.
Yeah, something.
Some, maybe some warmers in the boots.
Yeah, bloody oath. Anyway, he'll bounce back, the big dog. I'm not sure if you saw much of this. European Cups heating up. Toulouse and Toulon. You see that kick to win it?
Yes, I did see that actually.
Ramos or one of them? I think it was Ramos.
Yes, I think it was Ramos. It was Ramos or what's the other one?
Intermac. Yeah,
it was one of them.
Yeah, clutch. Breaking Toulon's heart, so they go into the quarterfinals now. Bordeaux is in the other one as well. I find it hard to watch this. We don't have it available. Yeah.
Yeah, and that sucks.
Yeah, I love the European
I see a lot of highlights.
Yeah, same.
I think another one I saw was Geordie Barrett had an absolute blinder.
Yeah, like 107. What was something like 100 point or something?
Yeah, 100 points, 3 turnovers. I don't know. It was something outrageous.
Killing
So it'd be nice to be able to get a bit more access to that rugby
Yeah.
and sort of see how players are going. Because obviously you see players leave the Super Rugby comp. Be nice to be able to sort of follow them and see how they're playing overseas. Because you always hear, oh, this player's playing unreal.
But it's hard to access.
But it's hard to access and actually see it for yourself.
The European Cup is good to watch. The Masters, golf. You want to see one just Rory McIlory?
Yeah, finally got his
Finally got
green
his-
jacket.
Yeah, how cool. That's like, I'm not a massive golf guy, but just I want to go to that one day. Just bucket list item, just see what Augusta looks beautiful. What is it?
I'd love to play the course. Obviously, never going to get on.
No, but it'd be cool.
But it would be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe just sneak on there at night one night.
Have a crack.
Have a crack. Just a drive. Because some of those holes look difficult.
Yeah, he put a few in the water towards the end, and then that putt to win it, and then, obviously I like the commentary of it all. It was unreal. As sports TV wise, it was fucking sick to watch. Final news and note, mate. Something we can talk about: college football. You seen Tennessee quarterback? Let's go on this. Nico Myalava.
Yeah, you know what?
What a
you
fucking-
can't hold. This was always going to be the issue with the NIL deals.
This is just a bit of context. So he's their main quarterback. He's obviously signed on. He $2 million a year what he's on, and then he's gone and said, "Nah, I want 4," and he's holding out. And then the coach goes, "All right, mate, you're not bigger than the program. See you later."
Yeah, and it's like,
Good.
mate, you're getting $2 million while at college.
And he's 19, 20 years old. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus.
and you're in a great program because that $2 million obviously, again, it does come back to obviously earning money while you can because you might not make the NFL. But at the same time, you know, a lot of athletes went through, and I saw Michael Parsons had a thing about it. College is where you learn your toughness and your grit and your time management and everything like that. Like, those programs feed you. That $2 million straight in your bank.
Oh, yeah. He's got everything else given to him.
You
for
know,
sure.
it's not like going to the NFL where you're on $8 million and you got to buy your own house, you got to buy your own food.
Yeah, true. He gets cars and all that.
Yeah, a lot of the, like, you look at those big programs and you watch the, like, day in the life videos of some of the athletes. They pretty much walk in, breakfast is made, do their lift, do their training session, lunch is there,
Video.
come back for recovery and video, the dinner's there. Like, they are treated like royalty. So it's interesting to see that sort of mindset, but I don't know if you'll get that anywhere else.
No, he won't. It's disappointing because, like, the thing is, though, he stays there, probably going to be the next 2 years, learn from Josh Heupel, who's a great offensive mind, probably make the playoffs, and then he goes to the NFL and he stocks up anyway. But now he's going to have to find a new program. Yeah.
Is he outside the window?
In regards to what?
The transfer portal?
No, he can. No,
He's got time? Because you know there's a cut-off and then they have to wait. They have to hold out for a whole season.
He's in the portal now. So interesting to see who picks him up and if he gets that sort of money. But, yeah, I thought it was just crazy, yeah. But it was good from Tennessee head coach to do that. No one's bigger than the program.
100%. And I guess it shows their mindset that it's next man up mentality. He's had a pretty good season last year too.
Yeah, it was good. Anything else that across your feed, Matt, you want to mention before we look to wrap up?
I actually watched the Ohio State scrimmage.
Oh, yeah?
Their little scrimmage,
Well,
which is good.
The spring game?
Yeah, you know how they've versed each other?
Where'd you watch that? What was it on? It was on
YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Or something. It was a live stream. I can't remember exactly what it was.
How'd it look?
Good.
Yeah.
5-star quarterback out of high school and a 5-star receiver that's looking
course.
good. 5-star receiver looks good.
Oh, God.
We seem to be breeding receivers at the moment. Looks like Julian Sayin might get the nod though.
Oh, yeah?
As the
QB1.
quarterback.
Yep. Is his first year of the program? Was he there last year?
No, he was there last year, but
Yeah,
I think
okay.
I don't know if he redshirted or not.
Right.
But he was in and around there, in and around the program.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go and bounce back after a natty, because obviously lost a lot on the defensive end.
Yeah.
But they still look like they've got a lot of weapons on offense.
Did you see today that when the White House and old mate dropped the trophy?
Oh, I didn't see
The
that.
Vice President, what's his name? I don't know. He picked it up and it was like in 2 parts and it split. Oh my God.
Does that always happen in the White House?
It always does though. Shit show. There we go. NBA finals too coming up.
Yeah.
We're at that stage of the comp as well.
Yeah, playoffs. Obviously got the play-in first.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I don't know why they do that. They have 32 teams, but 20 teams then become...
Is that how it works?
Yeah, so they have 32 teams. Normally it's meant to be top 8 of each conference. But then they added the play-in during the COVID year because games were missed and just kept it in. So,
Right.
so what happens is 7 will play 8. Whoever wins that goes straight in. Loser
He'll get
waits.
second chance.
9 and 10 play, and then the winner of that plays the...
You know that's just more games, more money.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
waste of time.
100%. So you look at a team like the Warriors who just missed out on they came 7th, and they just missed out on the 6th by like a game. but they're 6 or 7 wins ahead of
The next.
10th.
Right.
But they've now got to play. Like, they
Do
could
they-
lose back-to-back and be out.
Do the playing teams ever make a run? Does that ever happen? Or always get like is that?
I know the Lakers were a play-in team one year and made the Western Conference.
Yeah, right.
But I don't think a play-in team, well, it's only been 5 years, has ever actually won the comp.
And then finally, NFL draft coming up. Any thoughts on this? Who goes one for you? Do you have any? Is Travis Hunter going to be?
No, I don't think he's won. What's the fella
Oh.
from Penn State?
Oh, Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I think he goes one. I think he's a generational talent.
Who's got first pick? Giants?
Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee.
Yeah, the Titans have one.
Yeah. And then Cam Ward goes 2, they're saying, to the... Who was 2?
The Cavs? No.
Yeah.
The quarterback need. It might be
Browns?
The Browns? Yeah. Browns, sorry, Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think Cam Ward goes 2.
Yeah, they need to fix their...
Travis Hunter, I think Patriots got 3.
Yeah.
Like, they don't need a quarterback. Drake May was only taken last year.
Yeah.
But my interesting thing is what they're going to do with Travis. I think that's why he's not the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Because I don't actually know if he's going to be a corner or a wide receiver.
Well, what does he want? I don't know what
He wants both.
Yeah. But can you do both at that level? I don't know if he can. NFL? But he's a freak, but...
I could see him being a cornerback that goes in for wide receiver reps. But I don't think you can play full games on both sides of the ball.
It
Or just shorten your whole career.
Yeah. And then Shador Sanders, I'm interested to see where he goes.
His draft stock will fall.
You reckon?
Because I don't think he wants to go to a team that's not competitive.
Yeah. But like...
And I think he's been flunking interviews that he'll fall down into that sort of teams that have that are quarterback needy but do all right.
Right.
So be interesting to see how that all plays out.
It's all mind games. Anyway, so that's on a few weeks' time. We've got WrestleMania next weekend.
Yeah, I actually watched the back end of Raw today.
Oh, yeah?
Sitting at home.
Anything juicy going on?
The CM Punk, Reigns, Rollins sort of match is looking good.
Yeah.
See Paul Heyman in the middle of that, but
Jay also, he's got a match, the big one.
Gunther.
Oh, is that who he got?
He's fighting Gunther for the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I had a quick catch up, I guess, because I haven't really been watching it.
Yeah.
But it gives me an idea going into this weekend if I decide to tune in on the Sunday.
Mate, I tell you what, this show's got range, eh? Got some diverse topics, mate. We cover it all, don't we?
You guys got anything else we want to cover? Just
Let
leave
us
a
know.
comment.
There we go. Love it. All right, we're making some moves. Things are going good. East weekend, any plans? Weekend off?
Yeah, we got Nongsy's birthday on Saturday.
Good.
So we're actually playing a game called Chicken.
What's that?
So what it is we pick, I think we're going to go with 10 pubs. It's 15 I thought was a bit too much with the, because we have obviously girlfriends and stuff coming.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
so someone gets picked as the chicken, they get given the money for the bar tab, and they go pick one of the pubs. So they pick a pub, like they go to that pub. We leave 20 minutes later, and from there we've got to find them. But every pub you go to, so you're going in pairs. So I'm with Jake Upfield,
Yeah, lovely.
old man crew.
Yeah.
So every pub you go to, before you leave, you have to finish a pint. So if you go there and they're not there, you finish a pint, you go to the next pub. You finish. So you got to find the chicken. So we're all dressed up as farmers. One's going to be dressed up as the chicken, and I guess we'll be
Bro, it's going to be messy.
lime scootering around.
Brizzy or GC?
Brisbane.
Yeah, okay.
I think Brisbane's a bit better for a pub crawl because there's
True.
a lot more pubs and a lot
And
more
probably a bit
sort of
closer
areas.
too.
Yeah, a bit closer.
Right.
Whereas if you did the Goldie, you'd be getting a lot of Ubers. It could get quite expensive.
GC Highway all there.
Yeah, because it's all like they're in
But
lumps. You know what I mean?
They are, true. Interesting. Oh, that'd be fun, mate. Oh,
Yeah. Can't tell you how good I'm going to go, but
I back you, mate.
I might, if I get given the chicken because it's drawn out of a hat, I might just not go to one of the pubs on the list and just use the bar tab myself.
Okay, that's
That way I'm still messy.
There you go, something you do. Lovely. All right, that's all we've got for this week's episode. Joy Lanack will be back with us next week. Thank you, Tyler Campbell. Appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
See you next week. Have a good weekend.
Cheers,
Bye.
chat.